Today I'll be presenting a discussion around the theory of constructivism in the classroom context and providing examples of where this theory might be useful in the classroom when using information and communications technology, or ICT, in the form of 3 music training apps: Staff Wars, Rhythm Sight Reading Trainer, and Smart Music. As part of the context of these examples, I'll present a sample classroom music project where Year 8 students are preparing to rehearse and perform a rock band arrangement of the pseudo-echo hit Funky Town. We will critically reflect on the benefits and limitations of each of these ICT tools, outlining how they might be used in differentiated learning environments and accompanying ethical considerations, as well as discussing their use within the theories of constructivism while citing references from my research. Constructivism is a theory that emphasizes the active role of the learner in building and understanding and making sense of information. 2 of its most famous theorists were Jean Piaget and Lev Vygotsky, who developed theories of psychological and social constructivism respectively, building on the foundations of knowledge found in earlier theories such as behaviorism, as well as the various historical avenues and realms explored in epistemology more generally. Whereas psychological constructivism focuses on individual learners and how they construct their own knowledge, beliefs, and identity, social constructivism emphasizes the role of social and cultural factors in shaping learning. In the following examples, we'll examine learning through ICT tools and the relevance of theories of constructivism as students learn. So, now we'll look at the 3 ICT tools: Staff Wars, Rhythm Sight Reading Trainer, and Smart Music. To build a context for where I'll use these ICT apps, I've invented a possible classroom scenario where Year 8 students are preparing to rehearse and perform an arrangement of the pseudo-echo hit Funky Town at a future assembly performance. This would also form part of their classroom music assessment for the semester. All students in the class have a basic knowledge of music fundamentals, but of varying levels of skill and experience, some having learnt the band instruments before and some having had advanced music training, but not in the band instruments required for the performance. The teacher has decided to allocate different instruments to different students based on what they think would be possible within the time frame of the rehearsal period, and has decided to use ICT apps and programs to get the students prepared. For this task, we will focus on David, who is an experienced violin player, playing treble clef music exclusively, but for this task he's being challenged to learn the synth bass part, and he is not too familiar with bass clef. As a way to brush up on bass clef notation reading skills, the teacher has chosen the Staff Wars app preloaded on the student's iPad. To help with David's rhythm reading skills, which are already pretty good, the teacher has decided to use the Rhythm Sight Reading Trainer app, starting with basic levels and eventually employing the rhythm used in Funky Town. Then the teacher has loaded the parts the students will play into Smart Music, where the students will be given immediate feedback on the accuracy of their playing from within the app. After the students have brushed up on their notation and rhythm reading and had a good look at their parts, it is now time to rehearse the song as a group. Now let's have a more in-depth description of each app, starting with Staff Wars. Staff Wars is an interactive iPad app where the student is required to guess the names of notes that progress across the screen at increasing speeds as the levels progress. At each new level, achieved by correctly guessing 10 notes, and without making more than 3 mistakes, each of which would lose a life, the backing music gets more complicated and can serve as a distraction while the speed of the notes move increases. As the student guesses correctly, a Space Invaders style X-Wing spaceship shoots and blows up the note. As the game is infinite, the students will eventually lose all 3 lives, and the round of the game ends with the level achieved and high score recorded. For this exercise, the teacher sets a minimum level achievement of level 6, but encourages students to try and get as far as possible within the time frame. The students are allowed to practice at home. The app is set up by the teacher to only suggest notes that are within the range and clefs the students will use when learning their part. In this case, the synth bass notes for Funky Town, so it serves as a fun way to scaffold the speed at which the notes are recognised. By only being given 3 lives, the students must construct strategies for remembering the notes. The initial slow levels the student might use: all cows eat grass to remember the notes in the spaces, and good burritos don't fall apart to remember the notes on the lines. But this will get much harder as the speed increases, leading the students to build memory pathways gradually, supported by repetition and fear of failure. Rhythm Sight Reading Trainer is an interactive iPad app where a set rhythm is displayed and the user taps, claps, sings or plays the rhythm in time with a steady beat and is given a percentage accuracy score at the end of each attempt. This also details whether each note was perfectly played in light green, almost perfectly played, increasingly darker shades of green, early, red, late, blue, or not close enough. A cross is given. There are multiple random rhythm patterns which can be chosen grouped from level 0 to level 12, adding complexity with each level. The speed of the exercises can be manually or automatically adjusted to stay at the same tempo or to increase in speed with each attempt. It is also possible to compose your own rhythms, in this case to reflect those given in a specific piece of music. This slide represents a composed rhythm which matches a section of the synth bass part for Funky Town. For this exercise, the teacher sets each student the task of progressing from level 0 to 6, attempting exercises at 80 to 120 beats per minute for each level. The student then demonstrates their level of achievement by performing a rhythm composition within the app made by the teacher to reflect a section of the Funky Town arrangement for their instrument. Smart Music is a useful app for playing along with pieces of music written for specific instruments and features the ability to receive immediate feedback regarding pitch and rhythm accuracy while playing along with all the other instruments in the ensemble. In this instance, each student is given their individual instrumental part and can use the app to perfect the piece, starting off with small sections at slower metronome speeds and building to mastery of the whole piece. In giving immediate feedback to the way the teacher might, the student is able to independently work to perfect the piece, reducing the amount of rehearsal time needed when the classroom band begins playing together live, and reducing the individual teaching load of the teacher. Similar to with the Rhythm Sight Reading app, this app gives feedback in green for correct notes and red for incorrect notes, but also which notes were played incorrectly given the played pitch to help find out what went wrong. These three apps provide a platform for the students to construct their knowledge and skill base by allowing the students to figure out how to progress and achieve high scores or high accuracy by themselves, with each app providing immediate feedback. In each case, the apps scaffold the learning journeys of the students using elements of gamification to help with engagement and to provide varying levels of enjoyment. In Staff Wars, as each level progresses, the student is required to build on their skill level to keep progressing, and if they fail, they can restart the exercise until they build up the skill to achieve level 6 or higher. In the Rhythm Sight Reading Trainer, the student is also given feedback needed to identify problematic areas, and to help the student to focus on what might be going wrong, and to form strategies and methods to improve performance of each task. Smart Music takes those skills of pitch and rhythm recognition and puts the student very close to a live performance situation, albeit with a perfect ensemble to play with, making it more likely that the student builds up a perfect version of their part for when the group gets together. All three apps represent a psychological constructive learning tool, as the students are required to isolate to gain knowledge and strategies which help them develop their individual needs, which may be very different in each student. This leads the student to become competent at their differentiated music tasks when the group later get together to rehearse. Achievements then made by collaborating as a group to work towards performing Funky Town to the highest standard possible at the upcoming assembly performance would represent social constructivism at work. Social and psychological constructivism are clearly also present in the accumulated knowledge base of each student before they started each task, and this previously displayed knowledge base was instrumental in the teacher being able to set appropriate goals for the students' learning. The apps support diverse learners by being able to vary the difficulty of each task. In Star Wars, by having the number of notes to choose from moderated by the teacher according to their skill level. For the least experienced students, this might mean setting up the app to only generate 3 or so pitches, making the comparison to other students in high score levels more even. For more advanced students, the task might be expanded to include many more notes. In Rhythm Sight Reading Trainer, the students can vary the speed of exercises to their skill level and progress at their own pace. In Smart Music, the student can vary the tempo of the exercises and attempt smaller sections first to build up fluency and confidence. By comparing the scores to fellow students in Staff Wars, a spirit of competition may be motivating for the students, but may also lead to frustration or even potential humiliation by the student. The teacher plays an important role here by trying to accurately moderate the level of competition by setting a level playing field in terms of individual capabilities so that it will be a fun learning environment for everyone involved. In Rhythm Sight Reading Trainer and Smart Music, due to the randomized rhythmic exercises and different instrument allocations, there would be fewer yardstick comparisons and hence less competition. Apart from these considerations, because the apps are standalone and don't use the internet, there is very low risk of these activities being used in an inappropriate way. These apps provide fun and engaging learning experience, which combines scaffolding within mostly psychological constructivist theoretical principles to brush up on and learn new skills with elements of gamification. Star Wars is limited in its range of notes to choose from, with exclusions of sharps and flats, and so might be considered a good introductory ICT tool. Rhythm Sight Reading Trainer can be used in a variety of ways, but in its use in this context provides a solid grounding in rhythmic reading skills. It is mostly limited in that composed rhythms can only be 8 bars long maximum. Smart Music is a very valuable tool for preparation of parts, but its limit is mainly that when the students come together to practice, they may trip each other up by not playing accurately, providing extra levels of difficulty which may not have been anticipated when perfecting a part with the app. And finally, here is a list of sources I used when compiling this discussion. Thank you for listening.